Welcome to Obsession Engineering at the longest day up start line at Land's End. It's been a little bit of a trek to get here, 350 miles from Lincoln, but the DeVille has fought through wind and rain and it is here along with 35 other complete idiots and Johnny Mack, who organises it. So I'm going to let Johnny run you through why we're here.
Basically, this is the start point for the longest day challenge, which obviously you're taking part in this year. And behind me, you will see an eclectic mix of so-called under 600 quid motorbikes. And I think you don't need to be too switched on to realise some of them are probably a little bit over, let's say. But we've got a plan for those people. Later on, we'll be doing some awards and bits and pieces like that. But anyway, this is where it all starts. You say you've done 350 miles down here and powered through it. That's just a warm-up. That's how long it is to the first pit stop tomorrow. And there's 5 pit stops. And then the last pit, well, there's technically 6, I suppose, if you count John O'Groats as the last one. So every year we've always done it to raise money for Cancer Research UK. And I think up until this year, not including this year's total, we've so far raised £310,000. You know, it's a fabulous reminder of the generosity of people, not just you guys and everyone else who's doing this and giving their time up to do it, but obviously the people are putting their hands in their pockets. So opportunity to say a huge thank you to you, the 35 others and everyone else who's donated.
Right, starting at the front of the lineup, there is an FJ 1200 which is underneath unpleasant. And next to that is Mick and his big BMW. It might look expensive on the outside, but it's not the best thing underneath, is it, Mick?
No, it's not. It looks like it's been in the sea. It looks like it's been off the end here.
Sprint ST Triumph, they're horrible. VFR 750s and 800s. How they get into the price cap, I'm not quite sure, but they will be very, very capable. And this one belongs to Sean, who I bought my DeVille off.
Hello.
Hello, Sean.
Hello there.
How is the Magna?
Coping, hopefully. So we've popped a fork seal, but hopefully we'll get on. It'll make it, hopefully.
So you chose not to use the DeVille and bought something else?
That was going to be my son. He was going to use the DeVille, but unfortunately he had an accident just after he'd signed up to do this. So obviously it then became available. I was always going to use this. So the DeVille was sold to you.
And I feel like I've won.
Yeah, I think so. If it gets you there, we'll find out with John O'Groats if you want or not.
Right, next along is an XF650. I have no idea that they even existed, so we'll move on quickly from that. Right, a Trans Slap and a big Triumph Trophy, which I'd imagine is incredibly comfortable, but also it probably goes as far as having the worst paint finish of anything here, so that's gone well. CBR 1000F.
This is the upgraded version of the Jaffa Cake, because the original Jaffa Cake, I've done it 3 times already, and if I did it again it'd probably kill me or I would kill it.
It's a Kawascrappy, maybe.
But here it's a Yamaha.
Yeah, but luckily we don't need sat nav on this because it's got the route map and a compass, so nothing could go wrong there. Oh, you must be the owner of this wonderful FJ 1200 or the Kawascrappy or
The rider of it, yes. Yeah.
How bad is it underneath?
Slightly worse than it is on top.
Next along in the battle for the dullest bikes, going up against my DeVille, a pair of diversions. So less said about them the better. And then a Suzuki Van. I think these are 200cc. That is not going to be fast, or I suspect particularly comfortable, and has no weather protection, so absolute fair play for the lunatic who's riding that. Possibly the ugliest bike ever made in the world, a GSX F600. GPZ, if you fancy pretending to be Tom Cruise. SV650, which is probably actually quite nice to ride. FZR 750, ZZR, or is it 600? I've been corrected. It's a 600.
It's a 600, yeah.
It actually looks surprisingly good for 600 quid.
It's it is, 575 quid, but it had to have another engine, so it's slightly over budget. It's all the better for it.
Yeah, but as long as it actually gets there, that's the main thing.
It got here.
Yeah, the rest we'll just hope for. Right, I looked at a ZZR 600. I suspect they're probably quite capable. I think that's a Suzuki.
It is, yeah.
You must be Rennie.
Yeah. Hello.
Right. The man who gets the award for coming furthest to go the furthest home is Rennie.
Yeah.
Tell us where you're from, why you're here, and what made you think this was a good idea.
I'm from Holland. I'm in the UK a lot, and I've known about this for years, and I've always really wanted to do it, and now I've managed to get a position in the start line. My buddy's daughter, we just gave her a bunch of paint and said, "Go wild," and this is what she came up with. I got it about a year ago for the engine, and then I started building the bike for this, a GSX-R 750, and the guys in the group were like, that might be a bit mad. I was like, they might be right.
So it's been a full project.
Oh yeah. It's not the fastest I've ever built a bike, but it's the most legal.
Right, rattle down the rest of the line. Another CBR 1000F, another ZZR, a very new KTM, because unfortunately the chap who has that, his actual longest day challenge bike broke yesterday. So he's had to bring his KTM, but at least he's still doing the challenge. That is an FZR 1000, I'm guessing. It's 750 I'm being shouted at. 1000. It's an old Yamaha and it's actually quite horrible. Right, FJ 1200 should be comfortable and capable, and this might be my favourite thing that's doing the challenge this year, because this is actually really quite nice.
Yeah, so this little Honda, I import old bikes from America, and this was one of the ones that came in earlier on in the year, and I just thought it would be, perfect for what I do, and great for the challenge. I thought it was something a bit different. Old bike's more my thing, so yeah, that's why I wanted to do it on this.
So what exactly is it?
It's a 1974 Honda CB360. So 49 years old, MOT, tax exempt, £70 to insure it for the year, cheap motoring.
GPZ 500, a Triumph Sprint ST, which looks like it should be more than 600 quid, but is not only stolen and recovered, but also crash damaged, hence the mismatched panels, and apparently when we got it there was bits of bark in it, and I've already been shown that that doesn't do a lot. So that might be my favourite feature so far, is the switch that does nothing. An old BMW. I don't know anything about old BMWs. Another diversion. My God, they're dull. A Pan-European. So basically my DeVille, but even heavier and a bit faster. And I have no idea how you can buy one of those for 600 quid, but I'm sure we'll find out later. That's a colour scheme. That is an old Triumph 900 thing. I know almost about as much about those as I do about old BMWs. Another GPZ. And I think we're only a couple of riders short of a full complement. I'm going to come clean with something. For the actual challenge, we don't start at Land's End because, mostly because the hotel's not at Land's End, it's a few mile away in Hale. But also the road from Land's End to like Penzance and through there is incredibly slow and would take up pretty much half of the actual day. So we start from here, we've done the ceremonial takeoff from there. Enough of the admin. Right, there are a few last minute modifications to the DeVille. Along with the orange wrap and some stickers, we now have the navigation system. And what I've done for each route of the trip, I've printed off the directions, laminated them, and gaffer taped them one at a time to the fuel tank. So that is tip-top quality. I've borrowed a Beeline sat-nav off one of the lads from Carrot Cycle, so thanks to Phil for that. The throttle buddy, I've also already realised in the 400 odd mile it took me to get down here that is really handy. There is a piece of tape over the FI light because it's quite annoying, so we didn't want that. And other than that, another thing that's quite important, racing seat foam stuck on and cable tied to the footrest, and that has actually done a really good job of knocking a lot of the vibration out the footrests. That's almost it. And of course a bit of camera mounting. So that's it. She is ready to roll for a mere 1,000 miles in a day. So give me your money. Press on the link. It is just before 4 o'clock in the morning and we're excited and ready to go, and it's rained a bit overnight so everything's wet, and it turns out the place I was going to put my camera, it doesn't stick there, and it's wet, and my cameras aren't waterproof. And so you'll have to trust me that the first bit of the ride is awesome and I did an amazing job. But what I'm actually going to do is put my helmet on and ride to the first pit stop at Cirencester, which is 2 or 3 hours up the road. And then I'll talk to you a bit more, and then I'll put some cameras on the bike, and then it'll look more organised. But it is 4 in the morning, so I have an excuse. I have made it to pit stop 1, which is 240, 250 mile into the ride. Not feeling too bad, being as I've basically done quarter of it. Neck's a little bit tight, because I get that, and my bum isn't too bad, so for a change of seatery, I've reattached my air cushion, so it gives me just an alternative place to sit for a little bit, and a little bit more leg room. I have also only got lost once. Quick pee and a drink, fire a bit of food in, and back on the road, because I do not want to be here long. I need to be back on the road. After pit stop 1 at Cirencester, the next pit stop was just short of Chester, which did involve navigating round a few towns. Or, if you've done very little route planning like I had, navigating straight through the middle of some towns, which did add a little bit of time. As did making a couple of wrong turnings, but we did get there in the end. Quite warm. And after watching a Honda slightly destruct itself on the way. I am in pit stop 2, the sun is shining and I'm changing to a thinner jacket. The boys have checked the oil on the DeVille and he's not used any. Unlike the 1970s Honda, I was behind this for a little bit, I actually waved him through. And it's cool. I think it's actually faster than the DeVille because it doesn't weigh as much as the Titanic. And as I was riding along, the silencer fell off it and just pirouetted down the road. So after that, it was just louder. It does smoke quite a lot, but only out the exhaust pipe that's still on it. But it is still going, so I think that's pretty good. Right, what have I done? Other than a couple of wrong turns, the DeVille is going well. I haven't had to do a second fuel stop yet. I'm going to do it in a minute. We're getting like 180 mile before I even need to think about filling up, so that's pretty good. But what I need to do is get on the road, smash some more miles. Right, so this section is bright, sunny, warm. And in a few miles we'll be diving into Liverpool, and the DeVille is not very good in slow traffic and stuff because the idle control valve doesn't work, so if it's in gear it ticks over at 3000, which is about 27 mile an hour. It's basically like cruise control in town in third gear. Second gear you can't use because it's broken, and first gear does about 10 mile an hour. So you have the choice basically in town of 10 mile an hour or 28. And when you're in town and filtering, that's a little bit awkward. So it's not very good in traffic. And if I come to a stop, if I pull the clutch in because it's revving too high, it just gets really hot. So basically every time I pull up, I have to turn it off. Luckily, it does start on the button because it is a fuel-injected Honda. Right, I have to remember to sit up straight as well and wiggle my neck because I'll keep getting neck ache. Get the DeVille into some corners where it, where it really belongs. Meow. This thing steers like my van. It is awful because it's so heavy and the suspension's so soft and it's so long. It's not a dynamic riding machine. The comfort's pretty good, and the screens get me loads of wind protection. So those are the bonuses, and it hasn't used much petrol. Other than that, it's pretty much crap. But right now it is the best bike I've got because it's the one I'm sat on. That's it. You can try revving the engine. Unfortunately, it still sounds like the DeVille. They say V-twins are full of character and passion, and they obviously haven't ridden a DeVille because this has none of these things. This is the dullest motorcycle in the world. And now I'm over 400 mile in, not even beginning to be that comfortable. Oh well, it's still the best motorcycle I'm sat on. Oh dear. Remember, please give me your money. This is a day out. I don't know. Which way do we need to go? Okay, we'll go this way. This way looks right. Right, turn that off again. It'll get a bit toasty otherwise. The last 30 miles has probably taken an hour and a half, which is not ideal for the average speed. And the bit before that was probably 40s and 50s, so it is dragging a little. Right, 450 miles in, this is pit stop 3. If I'm honest, it's been tedious the last 100 miles because we've been basically in built-up areas the whole time. I don't think we've done over 50 mile an hour really, and it's been hard work and my neck's aching, and in theory we've not done halfway, but we've done the slow half, so from here it should be better. And we have been on the road 12 hours now, and I don't do a lot of touring. I basically don't do touring, and my body is feeling it. And I was getting grumpy because I love flapjack and bananas, but I needed to eat something that wasn't flapjack and bananas. And over here, this is a guy's thatched cottage place or something, up near Lancaster. Pit stop 3, we've got pasta and pesto, we've got quiche, we've got Scotch eggs and bits, and I needed it. And I'm already feeling better about the world. And so the next stop is in Scotland at a ferry terminal. So I've updated the sat-nav. I have actually been following the beeline thing, but it doesn't quite coincide with the route plan I've got. So I'm actually going off old school bits of paper, and it seems to be working. And my hair's looking helmety. And that's enough standing around. I actually do need to do some stretches. My neck is killing me. So I'm going to do some stretches for a couple of minutes, have a piece of cake, smash some more miles in, and we're doing it all to fight cancer. So pressing the link, give me your money, like a good boy or girl. Oh, this is pleasant. The A6 en route to Kendal, and at pit stop 3 we had the good news that so far the group page has hit £80,000 for this year. It actually brings a bit of a lump to my throat because you wonderful, wonderful people out there have been so generous, and it's for such a great cause. Just checking the mirrors. It's for such a great cause. We had a girl from Cancer Research UK come and meet us last night before we started out, and some of the stuff she was telling us, some of the research that's been done over the last 10-15 years, and some of the things they can do now, they can basically almost cancel out cervical cancer in like younger women and things like that, which is well, you get a lump in my throat. And it's amazing, like these people are actually fixing cancer, and that's just incredible. But they can't do it without the money that we're raising. So the fact that we've raised all this money this year for Cancer Research UK, so they can go off and basically fight against cancer and find cures and work through it, is just incredible. So a massive thank you to everybody who's donated to either my page or like the main longest day page. But if you haven't, please chuck some money in. This changes lives. Somehow, me sat here with a bit of neck ache and a sore bum in the sunshine is somehow fighting cancer. Just, you know, it's ridiculous and brilliant at the same time. So that's it, right, rant over. Please give us money if you already have. Thank you very much. We praise you. You are wonderful people. Oh, the speed limit, I better slow down. I should use the correct term. Having suffered Liverpool and the traffic, this is our reward. Look at this. This is just awesome scenery. This is the A6 out of Kendal towards Penrith. This is why I ride motorbikes. I mean, I'd rather not be riding this one right now because this road's nice, but this bike's terrible. But lovely sweeping corners. Currently no traffic. Just beautiful English scenery. Clearly the best scenery, of course. And just look at it. It's absolutely everywhere. And the painkillers are kicked in so my neck doesn't hurt. I feel right now like I am actually winning at life. It might be crap, but it's still better than driving a car. Because you're in it. You've got the temperature and the smell and you can see everything. There's no door pillars in the way. There's me and the smell and the sound and the vibration of the bike, and I can feel the road underneath me. This is lovely. We've nearly run out of England. That must be a good thing. I'm looking forward to being in Scotland, and I don't say that often, but I am looking forward to getting to Scotland because then it's 2 countries down, 1 to go. Here we go, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Scotland. Okay, the new chase this moose around this hoose and other such stereotypes of men in skirts. 70 miles to go till the ferry crossing at Dunoon, and the weather has got very Scottish. The A76 from Dumfries to Kilmarnock is pretty darned good. Lots of nice sweeping, decent tarmac corners. It is lovely. The only problem is now it's all wet. We've done 608 miles, so we've got about 400 more to go, which right now seems ridiculous because we've been riding for 16 hours nearly and got 400 miles to go. So if we average 50 miles an hour still, we might just about get there for 4 in the morning. Yeah, this is turning into a long day. It's quite wet now. It's not really raining, but it's wet. And I've just had the realisation that my feet are wet. I don't really like having wet feet. I just don't. This morning I was quite down because it was misty and I was sort of riding on my own a bit, and you know, it felt like a daunting big task. And then as the sun came up and you ride around and it's better, especially after Liverpool when we got some pace going, I felt quite chirpy, and when we got into Scotland I was invigorated by the fact that we were in Scotland. And I've just had the realisation that I'm going to have wet feet for the next 9 hours, maybe a bit more depending on when the ferry turns up. That's a little bit bleak, if I'm honest. So we're heading down there for our ferry, and doesn't it look lovely? This is like the Scottish Riviera, but now I can see water and I can see boats. My mood has gone up again, and when we get to the other side there's probably only 5.5 hours of riding to go. Give me more money. I need more money. Unfortunately we were 5 minutes late for the ferry, so we now have a 50-minute wait to then get on a 20-minute ferry or something to then get to the other side to then have a 5 or 6 hour ride. So, but the bonus is the sunset over there, wherever it is, as we were riding along to get to the boat, to get to the ferry terminal. Stunning. If I wasn't in such a rush, it'd have been even nicer, but you can't win them all. Right, I'm going to eat my hot dog, and I might lay on the floor for a bit and just rest while I get the chance. During the day I've done a fair amount of riding on my own, and then riding randomly with other people from the group, because you sort of catch people or people catch you, and part of me likes riding on my own because you make your own mistakes and you sort yourself out. But then as the day's gone on, it's been rather nice to have Peter over there and his mate Andy, who's over there, they are still on speaking terms. It's been quite nice to have them as company. You get, even though you're just travelling and you're not really talking other than fuel stops and bits, it's like a bit of camaraderie, and it's nice to know that there's somebody there. If you break down or have a problem or something, you're not just going to be, I mean, there's backup anyway, but the backup's at the end of a phone, and they might be several hours before they get to you. Whereas these boys, at least you'd get somebody there to take the piss out of you straight away. But it is nice to have a bit of a group atmosphere on the go. There are certain things I'm very pleased I've got with this bike. Really bright Chinese headlights. Will be useful tonight, definitely. Heated grips that it came with. So my hands are scorchio, and I like riding in summer gloves. Those are my favourite things right now. What I should have brought with me was some waterproof boots and some more socks, and a better idea of where I'm going. But never mind, we shall continue onwards into the night. Right, so me, Pete and Andy were making good progress off the boat, and then we spotted a man with a broken down Triumph. Tell us what happened.
I stopped to clean my visor because it was covered in midges, as you might expect up in Scotland. They're very popular. And as I pulled off, the clutch for some reason decided it didn't want to play ball and locked up and threw me off. Luckily it was a very slow speed off, but it has damaged the gear lever and knackered everything else. So yeah, great fun.
And on that note, we're going to carry on because the van is coming for him. See you later.
Good luck.
This is how good Chinese 40 quid headlights are. So that is it. Dipped beam, high beam, Chinese beam. Sit trap. We are a third of the way to Inverness from the ferry. Sat in a 50 mile an hour zone with average speed cameras in the middle of the night with no traffic. I'm pleased I've got heated grips. Conveniently though, the bit before it though was excellent fun. It was that twisty that in the dark you can't see that far ahead, so it feels really fast. And so you don't actually have to be speeding for it to feel like you're going fast, which is kind of fun. Not actually very good for getting any mileage completed, but still fun. Right, we're playing Stag Watch. We've had several in the last couple of miles, or the last few miles. The trick is, stay in the middle of the road to give them a bit more space. I've only had one actually run out in the road in front of me, and I deployed the anchor and we slowed down enough for it to run away. Luckily, Peter being a local, he has a weird sixth sense for this. He spots them quicker than I do, and so the technique is a little dab on the brake means he's getting ready for a corner, a big pull on the brakes, stag, means there's a stag. Yes, stags. Lots of them, occasionally in the road. Stag. Look, stag. Running away. Run away, stag. Pit stop 5. This is the final pit stop. I was kind of dreading this bit of the night, if I'm honest. And I got off the ferry and I was expecting this to be hell, basically. But luckily, I had a local tour guide with me. Peter lives Fort William area, and so the 180-ish miles from the ferry to here in Inverness has been spirited riding, shall we say. But yeah, it was really, really good fun, and it's exactly the kind of fun I wanted. Weirdly, I thought we'd have that kind of fun in the daylight somewhere with the sun shining, but we did it in the dark, so it was pretty good. We've got probably a couple of hours riding left. It is 2:30 in the morning, and it's getting light as well. And Nigel's here. Nigel's raced the Manx and bits, and you've done this challenge before, haven't you?
I have, yeah. I've done it a few times.
And you never made it home since? You just stopped in Inverness?
I'm trying to get home, but yeah, no, I have. Yeah. We're just doing the broom wagon tonight, so
very nice.
Me and the good wife, we're following you boys up and picking you up if anybody should have any mishaps.
We're not going to do that. If the DeVille's made it this far, it can make it That little bit further.
If the DeVille's made it, anything can make it.
That over there is the sun rising on a whole new day. At times today has been hard work, but it was my choice to do it, and this is my reward. Seeing wonderful scenery, meeting good people, seeing wonderful sights, and thanks to you lot, raising money to fight cancer so that more people can see a wonderful new day. And that's what it's all about, really, isn't it? We all want to see another day. We are not far away. We are looking for the last sign for John O'Groats. I think it must be over there, because that bit sticks out further. All the way down to first, because second doesn't work. There we go. Oh, this is a little road. 13 miles of this to get to the end of the world. Right, here we are. Sat on the floor because everything aches now. In front of a sign at John O'Groats. That has been a long day out. Actually, a little bit more than a day in the end. 25 and a half hours. Probably 24 of which were sat on the DeVille. I will admit, it's crap, but it's not missed a beat the whole time. It has its foibles, but I feel now that we get on surprisingly well. We know each other annoyingly intimately because, you know, we spent a lot of time together recently. I haven't actually checked the mileage. I think it's just under 1,000, but I think it's 970 or something. But I shall check that in a bit. Right, thoughts on the day. A little bit daunting to begin with. Then a little bit annoyed at myself during the day for messing up my navigation and basically putting myself behind schedule. And then I got really down because it felt like it was never going to end, even though it's only a day. And then once we got going off the ferry and across Scotland and in the dark, and I don't normally like riding in the dark, and we got head down, chasing Paul's tail light, had some swift riding, and realised I was thoroughly enjoying being at one with the bike. And just, yeah, in the end, I've actually enjoyed the experience. I'm not enjoying how much I ache right now. But there's something satisfying about doing something fairly big and finishing it. And it is just riding a motorbike from one end of a country to another. But doing it in one go adds a layer of difficulty to it. And I am pleased I've done it. I'm also really, really pleased I did it to raise money for Cancer Research UK. I think it's a great cause. And I cannot thank you enough if you've given me money, because that money will go on to save people's lives so that they can do stupid things like this and just, you know, take chances in life and enjoy themselves. That's what it's about, isn't it? And on that note, I'm going to go to bed for a bit and sleep. So thank you for watching. Join me again next time for some more motorbike fun. I'm going to give a special thank you to Peter because up until we got on the Dunoon ferry and I was getting quite down because I'd basically messed up a load of my navigation and I'd got lost and stuff like that, and I was kind of beginning to hate myself. And then Pete we got off the ferry, and he was basically my tour guide all the way across Scotland, and I just followed this tail light as he knew a load of the roads and knew where we were going, and it was mega. And all of a sudden, at about midnight, I realised that I was actually loving riding around, and so big thanks to Peter. And I have to admit, that is the surprise one for me. It is very nicely put together, and I'm sure it is mechanically brilliant, but it is a 1974 CB360, and the exhaust pipe fell off right in front of me about 700 miles ago, and the other exhaust pipe smokes, but it's kept going, and it's got here, and it rolled up at almost exactly the same time as us. So, fair play. Only 2 bikes failed to make it to the finish line at John O'Groats. The white Triumph Trophy that actually didn't make the start line at Land's End, and the unfortunate man who broke his gear lever. Even the little Suzuki Van 125 made it. All in all, it's been an incredible experience and also a great fundraise for Cancer Research UK. If you've sponsored us, thank you so much. It really does mean something incredible. If you haven't, please press on the link, give us some money and help us fight cancer. Thanks for watching.